Hello and welcome to St Michael's Hill. You join me today for the April update. There's been a fair bit going on at the layout since the last one in March. Made real progress, and hopefully that will continue through May, and we'll be getting to a point where we'll be close to getting some trains running, but we're still a fair way from that, so you'll have to forgive me for any running shots that might be a little bit older during this video, but there's been a fair bit of things to kind of bring you up to date on. Before we start, I just wanted to give thanks to any members of the NHS or other key workers, especially Royal Mail, who basically have kept this hobby going for many retailers and modellers alike. So without the kind of hard work that they're doing, we wouldn't be able to kind of enjoy the hobby that we kind of love, and I'm sure it does all sorts of good things for our mental health while we're stuck inside, which obviously is a tricky time for a lot of people. Certainly doing work in here and other kind of railway things has kind of kept my spirits up, and I'm sure it's the same for many others. So I just wanted to give a massive thank you to those guys and girls who are keeping the country running in this time of real craziness. Anyway, on to the update. So, welcome to the garage. I firstly apologise for the huge mess that you see in front of you. I'm kind of right in the middle of works that mean that all this stuff is up here for now. Hopefully a lot of these materials and things will be used in the next kind of day or two, and it will all get a lot tidier, but I thought I need to get this update filmed, and rather than just tidy it all away, I just thought I'd leave it out. But this is not typical, but it's also not unusual. But as you can see, beyond all the mess, all of the mess is sat on boards that are now finished. That is the biggest thing of this month, really, has been getting all the boards lined up. All the frames have been installed on this side and around the back. There is a lift out section that is currently just down here, and then the fiddle yard boards have all got tops around the corner there. So that is the biggest thing that I've been working on this month. I'm not going to go into too much detail, just because that I've done a whole video on the baseboards that you can watch. I think it will be the last video on the channel, so just check that out if you're interested in how they've gone together. As I film this, I'm waiting for one last delivery of wood to kind of put some bracing behind all these sections, which is a lot of the reason why all this stuff has come out from underneath. Usually it lives all behind these boards, so once they have been installed, hopefully tomorrow or Thursday, then all this stuff will be able to go away and back into its storage, and I'll certainly be able to call the woodwork completely finished at that point, which will be a relief in many ways. It's something that I've quite enjoyed, but certainly glad to get it out of the way. The next job is going to be certainly on the fiddle yard sections, laying cork that arrived this month. I'm going for some 4mm stuff, and I'll include that in the video that's upcoming on the track bed and track laying. Once the baseboards are all completed, I started work on the track bed sections. Now these kind of sections here are going to be raised 10 centimeters above the height of the frame, so they'll be in line with the top of the baseboard you can just see there. So the whole section of the track will be raised above the frame, which will allow me to kind of build scenery both above and below the track quite simply. These sections have been measured out very roughly. I basically got lengths of wallpaper and run them along the corridor in my house and put out the track plan pretty much as it was on the computer. At that point, I then basically put the points down on the track and kind of roughly outlined what was there to kind of create a template that I'd then cut out of plywood. Most of these track deck sections have been cut out of a 12mm ply, although there are some here that you can see that are a little bit thicker. That's simply because I didn't have any other 12mm ply. It won't really matter. I'll just make the supports for these sections 6mm shorter, as that's 18mm there, so it'll all be level when it's finished. There is another advantage: the sections here are actually quite meaty, so it will allow for slightly stronger kind of boards there where the depot is. So once these have been done, I will kind of be ready to kind of lay the track in earnest. One thing I have kind of noticed since putting them up and then putting the track down is that some of them are a little bit thick. As you can see, there's a fair kind of distance either side here, so I probably will trim them down a little bit more before I lay the track fully, especially at the back here. I will want the I guess the raised section that the track runs around the back just to be slightly kind of thinner than that. This is the point where the two lines kind of cross over, and there'll be a third line that kind of comes a bit closer, and the platform is going to be down where that point is there. At that point it'll kind of disappear behind the town scene that will be roughly where you see it now. At that point it takes a sharp curve which will be hidden from view, so it'll be a second radius on the inside, and then there'll be greater on the other curves, so keeping everything to a kind of second radius minimum even when it's hidden. The curve that runs around the back here will be a lot less than that. It will be quite a smooth curve and will be partly hidden, as you can see, by the shed. It's been a little while since I've done a layout shout out, so I thought I would do one this month for Alex Hill's layout, Oakford Lane. This engineer's depot that's kind of down on its luck in the late 80s and early 90s is an excellent layout that's been built on fairly small baseboards and has an incredible amount of detail. Alex has got a YouTube channel and a Facebook page, which I will leave links to in the description below. I'm sure he would really appreciate you checking out his channels. And as you can see from these pictures, a stunning model. The shed has been put down in position, as have some of the other parts of the depot. I'm still kind of playing around, but I'm thinking of having the fuel tanks there, the kind of fuel pumps for unloading will probably be around here, the fuel reception there, and then the fueling point for the wagons, sorry, not for the wagons, for the locos will be here before the shed. In addition, I'll probably have a few other buildings dotted around, certainly kind of something up here at the reception point for shunters or depot staff to be able to use. And then the rest of the depot is going to be fairly kind of plain. I do want to keep, I guess, buildings probably to a minimum and just let kind of the scenery and all that take care of itself. So that'll probably be around on what all these parts are along here. There have been a couple of new additions to the layout this month in terms of stock. First of which is this EW&S Class 60. Very, very happy with it. It's a Hormy model, and yeah, it's been got it second hand from S&J Models, who supplied a very, very good service and some reasonable pricing on there too. So very happy with this model. It's something I've been after for a while, another Class 60 to go alongside my load haul one. Both these locos, both this and a Class 60 60070, both were kind of around in the period that I'm modelling in the area I'm modelling, so very nice to kind of get this one on board. As well as the Class 60, I also picked up a Class 37-7 from Bachmann. It was numbered 37705 and it was in Trainload Petroleum livery. It's actually away from the layout at the moment, being renumbered and rebranded into something that was a bit more suitable for the area that I'm modelling. Once that's back, which I'm hoping is going to be later this week, I'm going to be filming a video running through all the stock that will be running on the new layout. I'm going to be talking about why I've picked those locos and also what additional work needs to be taken out on them to either have them renumbered or rebranded to have a more of a authentic feel about what is likely to be running on the layout. So hopefully I'm looking to film that kind of later this week or early next week. So it might be the next video up on the channel, although there are a few others that I'm working on at the same time. But certainly probably in the next 3 or 4 weeks, that's a video you'll see if you're interested in locos and also the history of them really, and which ones are likely to be around, and the research that I've done to kind of make sure that that's correct. Then yeah, that's certainly going to be an interesting video for you, although I feel that for some people it's not going to be their cup of tea. A lot of people quite rightly want to just be able to run whatever they want on a layout, and that's it's great, but it's not something that I'm going to be doing on mine. So yeah, I'll certainly talk through that whole process in that video. Another thing I've been doing this month is working on the Cambrian Dogfish that some of you would have seen in the community poll video I did a few weeks ago. It was by far and away the favourite for having a video made, so I'm not going to go too much into detail as the whole process has been filmed. As you can see though, at this stage I've built the kit and started the paint work on it. I'm using a technique that I'll go into for the weathering, where basically you put the weathered colour, so the rust, down first, and then paint a livery on top of it, and work that away. So I'm very kind of pleased with it, or how it's coming along, but there's certainly a lot of work that still needs to be done on this wagon. It looks pretty ropey at the moment, but hopefully with a little bit more weathering and some kind of decals and things like that, it will all start to kind of come into place. But certainly fairly happy with the progress that's been made on it so far. Like I said, in the next week or two, hopefully there'll be a full video outlining that as soon as I can get the decals in the post, and I'll be able to put those on and continue the weathering. So hopefully either next weekend or the following one, there'll be a full video about this wagon. So keep your eyes peeled if that's something you're interested in. So for the last few weeks, I've been desperately trying to get hold of points for the layout. Very aware that with Pico closing down, they were becoming harder and harder to find. So I've been scouring the internet in various places. And thanks to all the stores that have had them and have got them out to me super quickly. They include Hereford Model Centre, Kerno, the Model Centre, DCC Train Automation, Greater Anglia Models, and also I picked up a few off Steve Smith of Railway Lays and Lines. He had a few from his old layout that weren't ever used. So I've now managed to get, although they're not all here yet, points that will basically complete the fiddle yard, and also I have enough track and points to run the full two loops and the kind of branch line, and then some of the depot as well. So I think the 2 points there, and then I think there's another 2 points that are going to be kind of under here where it goes down to the fuel road I've managed to get hold of. So I think the only kind of points that I won't have are the 2 that you can see here in paper, the one that leads to those 2 tracks there, and the one that leads to those 2 tracks there. It's not a massive problem. I'm certainly going to be able to kind of crack on, and I'd be surprised if I can get all of the other track laid in time to kind of before the lockdown kind of ends. So hopefully I'll get a couple of, or get the last 4 points ordered at some point, and they'll arrive when they arrive, and in the meantime I've got lots to be getting on with. So there we are, another month has gone. For me personally, it was a month where I achieved a great deal. Got a lot of work done around the garage and pushing things forward on the layout front, which is really, really good. Hopefully over the next couple of weeks there'll be a few videos, as I've kind of mentioned. So the track bed and starting to kind of look at track laying, that'll be hopefully in the next kind of 2 or 3 weeks, as well as the Meet the Fleet video, and also the video building the Cambrian Dogfish, which was part of the community poll I put forward. So hopefully over the next month there'll be a fair few videos whilst I kind of carry on with work, and hopefully the May update will be full of all sorts of wonderful things, and then it'll be on to June, which hopefully will bring my birthday, or will bring my birthday, and hopefully that will bring a few kind of model treats if if those loved ones in my family have got all the hints that I'm already starting to lay. So in the meantime, everyone stay safe, keep modelling, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.